So welcome to week 2 of my weekly vlogs. This week has been a pretty good week actually. Obviously I spent the last 3 weeks getting myself back into a normal rhythm. Obviously moving in and all of that it took its time, it took its toll. So the last sort of couple of weeks have been me just getting myself back into the groove, not doing anything too crazy, just trying to get my mind back in to the gym routine. What I've noticed, and maybe where I wouldn't have noticed this so much before because of the consistency that I had over the last decade, is just how important nutrition is. Because the last 2 weeks of nutrition for me have been absolutely flawless, and my performance and my training has gone through the roof. Like, I feel really strong. You know, these weekly vlogs are more for you to understand what trying to make progress is like whilst having a life and living normally. And so, you know, I'm in a phase now where I'm trying to decrease my body fat, but ultimately the main goal for me is to increase my strength and not lose any of my muscle mass. And essentially that's how you, when you're in a period where you're trying to decrease body fat, the only real way you can maintain the muscle mass that you've built is by training hard and training heavy relative to your own strength in order to keep your muscles engaged to a point where you don't lose it whilst you decrease body fat. And I think that that's something that social media for sure doesn't teach you, and the world will not teach you, is that this whole weight loss thing, it's not really about the weight loss. It's about trying to build as much muscle and strength as you can. And in doing so, that allows your body more of an opportunity to work harder in the gym, train heavier, train more intensely, train more effectively. And in turn, your body needs more food, burns more energy, and as the primary driving force behind decreasing body fat is your strength training, not your cardio, not smashing yourself into the ground, not cutting your calories so low that you're hungry all the time. It's trying to understand that the direction you need to be going in, the primary focus of all of it is trying to get strong and trying to build muscle. Now, yes, there will be some people that aren't in a position to start building muscle. You've got to decrease your body fat really before you can gear your body towards doing that. But you know, I've been doing this for a very long time now, so I'm in a position where I don't have to worry at all about my body composition. I'm trying to drop 5 kilos to get myself leaner so I feel better for me. Pre-COVID, that's where I was, and that's where I felt my best. Not only was I strong, not only was I holding a lot of muscle mass, but I was lean. I was mobile, I was agile, I was eating a lot of food, I had the flexibility with my nutrition, and I just felt my best in my clothes, you know, out of my clothes. I just all around felt really good. And so that's where I'm trying to get to now. And this is what I'm trying to show you all. You know, the last 2 or 3 years of my life have been up in the air, but I haven't strayed too far away from where I felt my best. And, you know, it's a long game. Body transformation is a long game. Trying to build a body that is strong and healthy and fit and is able to perform at its best, at your best, because we're all different, to get to a place where you feel good, to get to a place where you're confident, where you're happy, to get to a place where you're not worried about what you eat, or if you drink stuff at the weekend, or if you've got a birthday, or if we've got a wedding, or if you go on holiday. To get to that place does require a certain level of consistency for a certain amount of time. And, you know, everybody wants to get to a place where they feel better and look better and love how they feel in and out of clothes and don't have to worry about what they eat or what they drink, and can go into the gym and know what they're doing and train really well and love all of that. But it takes time to get there. And I hope what I'm showing you with these weekly vlogs is that I'm just a normal guy who was exposed to understanding how his body worked very early in his life. I was 14 when I got introduced to training and nutrition. And then as a byproduct of that, I have used that to aid me in the decisions that I've made when it comes to trying to build a healthier body and a fitter body, and ultimately a better, fitter mind. Because I notice a lot that people, they can work out and they can exercise when they've got a short-term goal in mind, so summer or a holiday or a wedding or whatever it is, but the focus is only for that period of time. And you know, I was always told from day one, if you can't sustain it, don't bother starting it, because short-term change is only temporary. And if it's temporary, that means you're not going to be able to keep it. And the game of change, the game of getting to a place where you feel better as an individual all the time, not just some of the time, is understanding that progress and personal development, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, has to come from being able to create programming that lasts your whole life. And these vlogs are to show you that you will see what's going on in my life. You will see how my life has been. If you've been following me for long enough, you can go way back, and even on YouTube, if you go way back to the start, 10, 11 years ago, you'll see that that was probably 10 years into my process. So, you know, if you go back to the very first videos, you're seeing me, I've already been doing this for 10 years before that. So you got to understand that the time is always going to pass. You know, people talk about time management, but we don't really manage time. We just use it or waste it. And when it comes to progress, when it comes to trying to change, it's a lifelong commitment. And if you can commit to it from a long-term perspective, your whole mindset shifts towards doing things that are actually right for you, as opposed to doing things that sound right for you. Because of sure, we all want quick results. We all want overnight results. Trust me, if I could build the amount of muscle that I've built over the last 16, 17 years, if I could do that in 6 weeks, I would do it. If I could decrease 5 kilos of body fat without feeling like shit at the end of it, or without losing muscle mass at the end of it, or without having to cut all my calories at the end of it, without having to do any real work in 6 weeks, I would do it. But the fact remains is you can't. And the reason why I'm here telling you this is because at the end of the day, what you do isn't going to affect me. And that's what I need a lot of you to realize. Like, what you do isn't going to affect me, but what I know can help you and can affect you. And so getting back to myself, you know, this week's been a really good week in terms of training. Done some bench press. That felt really good. Haven't bench pressed in a while. So, you know, took my time with that one. Cardio's been real chill. 2 cardio sessions in my home gym, like I said last week. And then went for a walk yesterday. So today's Monday, you'll be seeing this today. So yesterday's Sunday, went for a nice long walk, and it's been pretty chill. Like I've dropped 1.3 kilos already. So, you know, I'm slowly getting myself back to where I want to be, and I'm not really having to kill myself. I mean, I'm not killing myself. I'm doing 2 bike sessions for 25 minutes twice a week, and I'm going for an hour walk on a Sunday. And, you know, like I say to a lot of you, what it is you do, you have to know in your brain that you can continue doing this. And I know for a fact that I'm starting really, really small. So if I have to increase it, I have that room and that margin to do so. And that's ultimately what progress is about. It's about trying to get the biggest impact from the smallest amount of change. And at the minute, everyone's trying to create all these massive changes and they're not creating much change. So, yeah, week 2, feel really good. Just really looking forward to, you know, like I said prior, getting my head down for the next sort of the rest of this year, and just really focusing on just trying to get myself back to where I was pre-COVID. Back to stretching now, so my back isn't hurting, my hips are loose, my hamstrings are loose. I feel really good. I'm not aching when I wake up anymore. And that's the thing, like when I didn't train, I've never ached so much in my life when I didn't train. So as much as we do ache from exercise, you know, now I'm back to the gym properly. Now I'm eating properly, sleeping properly. I'm stretching, doing my cardio. I feel amazing. And, you know, it's funny because in anything that we do in life, being in shape physically, feeling good mentally, will take whatever it is you're doing to another level. If you make cakes, if you're a nail technician, if you're a carer, whatever it is that you do, if you're a chef, being in a better physical condition, mentally and physically, will make whatever it is that you do more enjoyable, easier to do, and ultimately it will create longevity in that. And that's what really my focus is now. My focus for the rest of my life now. I'm 40 in 3 years' time. My goal now is to train, for me personally, to look better and feel better, but ultimately for the longevity of life. Because the stronger you are now, the fitter you are now, the less body fat you have, the more muscle mass you have, it's only gonna prolong your life. It's only gonna make getting older easier and less of a struggle. And you know, as many of us want to pretend that we're never getting older and I can start whenever I want, eventually there's going to come a point where getting to grips with getting yourself in shape is going to be a hard task. So, you know, yeah, I won't go on too much, but you know, these vlogs are designed to try and give you a real world perspective of what fitness is when you're involved in your life. But for me, this week's been great. Looking forward to this week. Trained today, felt really good. Again, training tomorrow and Thursday and Friday. But yeah, other than that, this week's been pretty good. So if you want to watch this time, last time I tried to do this, season 2 will be up here somewhere, or up here. Episode 2 of Project 97, last time round. You can watch that and see where I was at and see the sort of differences in terms of nutrition and training and where I was in my life then versus now. You should be able to see a complete, you know, change in tone, in posture, and because I was in a very different place back then. But yeah, that will give you a good insight to see where I was then, where I am now, and how the progress in terms of training and nutrition hasn't changed that much. And the focus is still the same, to get to 97 kilos. So yeah, have a watch of that. I hope that's given you a little bit of an insight, because ultimately at the end of the day, my job is to keep it real with you, keep it honest with you, and show you, you know, the normalities of progress. It's not all perfect and it doesn't all look pretty. Sometimes it can be very repetitive, but ultimately at the end of the day, you know, life is long and we all have to repeat certain things in our life that we do or don't want to do. But when it comes to building a body, you know, slow and steady always wins the race. So I hope that was some good information for you. If you want to leave me a comment, please do. And I will see you next week.